WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom here this morning is Mr. Ryan Peyton, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools. Mr. Peyton, always good to see you, sir. How was your summer? How are you this morning?
It was a great summer, Got some time away, but we were very busy planning for the school year. So excited to be back. We actually have the teachers back today for our curriculum day. Tomorrow's Institute Day, and then we'll be jumping off on Wednesday with students in the building.
Folks probably can't see it, but you hurt yourself on the time away. You hurt the gun there, Mr. Peyton. You all right? What happened there?
I did, yeah. Yep. I unfortunately tore my bicep on an unexpected vacation, and so basically had surgery a week later, and I'm about 3 weeks post-op. So it's definitely been a challenge the last couple of weeks. Typing was pretty difficult, but I'll tell you what, modern technology has been pretty amazing. My speech to text app and a variety of other things have allowed me to still stay productive. So it's been good.
And it's the worst. I told you this off the air. It's the worst when you have an injury to like a very noticeable area of your body. Whether it's the arm, the hand, the shoulders, the leg, and the story that goes with it is just totally lame. I've been there. It's the worst. So, but glad you're on the mend and things are going well, and we're getting back to school in Blue Ridge. You mentioned teachers are back today, and first day for kids is on Wednesday. What's the vibes like in the buildings right now for you and your staff, sir?
Obviously very excited, right? This is why we're here, is to create high quality learning opportunities for kids. And so we're looking forward to being back on Wednesday. Today's our curriculum day. And so we have teachers in the building doing some professional development, prepping some classrooms. Tonight we have our first night. And so that's kind of our back to school night, where at Farmer City campus, we'll have both the Snyder Elementary and high school. Students will be in the building, get to, see their classrooms, drop off supplies. It's just a great opportunity to come in, non-stressful, relieve some anxiety, and just, come in and get things ready. And then tomorrow night will be Mansfield's first night. And so that's our 4 through 8 building. That'll kick off 5:30 for the 4th grade families, but then everybody else will be 6 to 7. Once again, get to see their lockers, classrooms, and just kind of get started, create some connections. So that first day goes extremely well.
Sure. Anything new this year as kids get back to school, whether it's change in morning routines, curriculum, school day, anything like that come to mind as we get back in class this week?
Well, we're kind of kicking off year 2 of our new ELA curriculum that we adopted last year. So we're excited about that, and excited to see that continued growth and impact on students and their outcomes, I should say. And then one of the big things that we have this year, we do have a change to our arrival and dismissal over in Mansfield. This year, the village had voted to move that to a 2-way road instead of a 1-way road there in front of McKinley Street. And so we've implemented some new drop-off and pickup procedures there. Really just to hopefully create the safest, exit and entry into the building daily. And so that'll be something new. Our district has sent out information. Mr. Huddleston, also the building principal over there, has sent out information with maps and just kind of detailing kind of the do's and don'ts. And if you have questions about that, please reach out to Mr. Huddleston. He can assist with anything there, arrival dismissal.
How much of an impact do you think, or how much getting used to do you think that will take by the kids and families in that area?
Well, change can always be a little bit tough at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll take a little bit of time, but we'll have staff out there supporting. We've got some signage out there, and some, like I said, we put out some maps and some different information, trying to be as detailed as possible. So there's clarity there, and individuals know what to do and when to be there, and how it all operates. So you can find all that information on our website. Mr. Huddleston sent out his back to school letter that had that information, I should say he had some information in there. And then about a week later, we had sent out kind of some more detailed info, just to make sure there's clarity so people know what to do. Be patient. Obviously, anytime there's a change in arrival dismissal, there's some learning that has to take place between staff, students, and parents and stakeholders. So just be patient and be mindful and be safe as we're maneuvering, especially those first few weeks of school.
One thing we've heard from law enforcement the last couple of weeks here as they, talk back to school, had a few school resource officers on the program and those sorts of things. If you don't mind, Mr. Peyton, just what makes, in terms of whether it's drop off pickup in your various campuses there in Blue Ridge, anything that you ask motorists or community members to be aware of as they navigate this back to school time, anything that makes Blue Ridge unique in that way?
I don't know if there's anything that makes us unique. I think just being cognizant, that a lot of the spaces there are young kids moving around, and we just want to make sure we're driving slowly through those spots. Reminding kids, when they're exiting buses, to not walk between buses or in front of buses, right? Use those sidewalks, use the crosswalks, use those areas that are noticeable to make sure that those kids get home safe. And just please be cognizant and read through those arrival dismissal messages that go out, right? Those are put out there to make everybody's lives hopefully a little bit easier. So we know what to do and stakeholders know what to do. The hardest part is when, we don't get that information or somebody does not, and they're not, their actions aren't following or supporting kind of what we put out, but sometimes they just don't know, right? So just being as up to date with information that comes out as possible. That's why we try to send out our information, via Facebook and via our app, and just try to articulate that so people know exactly what to do.
Very good. Very good. How about school bus safety in Blue Ridge, if you want to touch on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think that once again, just kind of going back to just being aware, when you are entering and exiting a bus, right, we're making sure that we're not walking in front of buses, we're not walking in between buses, we're staying in the appropriate spots off the road. And then obviously for those drivers, right, just being very cognizant whenever you see those yellow and red lights, make sure yellow is caution. When it's red, when that's out there, we need to make sure that we stop and do not pass those buses, right? And that's a safety measure in a state law, and nobody wants to give out fines in those situations. And obviously our end goal is just to make sure that everybody is extremely safe, and that's our goal. Learning is a super important priority, but student safety is our number one priority.
That's Ryan Peyton, superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, our guest on the Zoom here for this morning. Well, Mr. Peyton, as we talk back to school time, I wonder what the calendar in the early going, what's anything specific to that you do in Blue Ridge to get kids in the swing of things, or anything like that? What's going on in terms of the calendar the first let's say first month of the school year? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, as we kind of kick off, that first week, so we have 220 dismissals our first week. We start on Wednesday with students, and they're here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We do 220 dismissals that week. So kind of give them a shortened calendar that first week and just kind of build that stamina and endurance as they get back. But then teachers are in the building still, until normal work times, and just doing a variety of professional development, right? Learning and doing annual trainings or specific professional development related to curriculum. So it just kind of varies. That following week, pretty typical, back to those 310 dismissals. And so we get into a good routine. We do, I know at Snyder Elementary, for instance, we'll have some PBIS, which is positive behavior intervention supports, just some, and actually at most of the buildings, kind of going over just expectations and routines and what's expected behavior and what's unexpected behavior, right? So we make sure that we're all on the same page so that we can provide high quality learning. And then actually this year we will do, in that first week in September, I guess it's the 25th, will be homecoming. And so we'll do kind of our annual tradition, our parade, 220 dismissal, those fun things that'll be happening. But yeah, I mean, really early on, within the buildings and all of them, I mean, classroom teachers are really setting the expectations, talking about classroom rules, right? When we know we have clear behaviors that are identified, we know what we expect from students and they know what the expectation is. Hopefully when that's portrayed early and often, you're limiting behavior issues that are happening throughout the year. So more learning is taking place throughout.
Yep. Very good. Very good. Well, on that note, with kids getting back to class, I don't know if like I've talked to a few superintendents, they're bringing back breakfast in their districts. I didn't know that was not a thing for some places. Anything like that new this year in terms of whether it's like programs like that or other initiatives you're bringing on?
So some of our big initiatives this year, actually our main one is really related to professional learning communities. And that is something more geared
Mhm.
toward the adults in our district, right? So we are looking at ways to really focus on adult learning. We believe that, when we can provide, high quality learning for adults, that's going to then translate into learning outcomes for students, right? So
Mhm.
as a result of that, we've got 130 dismissals this year, 6 times a year. So that's kind of a new thing that we've added into our calendar. Teachers will stay obviously through the rest, and that's where their learning will take place with their colleagues, basically identifying, different student learning situations that we have, researching, coming up with solutions and plans, and then implementing that, right?
Mhm.
And then coming back the next month and monitoring how did that go. So
Mm.
we're super excited about that. And as a result of those 130, dismissals, we realized that, hey, we may need to look at what kind of after school programming opportunities can we provide, families in our district, because sometimes there are not a lot of opportunities here between our three communities. So, thankfully we were able to get in contact with Rennie from the Clinton YMCA. They have been super gracious in working with us to create an after school program opportunity this school year for those 6 days. Um, they're going to be coming over here and working in our buildings for those 1:30 to about 5:30. And we're just really excited. I think the programming is something that we would like to see. Not only just these 6 days, but hopefully, expand that at some point so that we
Mhm.
have that opportunity for our families every day. But we really need to get some support from families to be a part of that this year. And then we can start looking at, what are the opportunities to collaborate with the Clinton Y moving forward. So,
Yeah.
you can actually go onto our website and you can find a link and information there if you are a family that is wanting to be a part of that after school programming. And Rennie's just been great to work with. We're very thankful that he has been so supportive in this new journey.
And I tell you, if folks are listening this morning, Rennie's actually going to be on the show at 9:30 this morning. So if they want more on that opportunity and what Y Zone is and what it's all about, we'll have him on to talk about that a little bit today as well. But he did tease that for us last month, that was being introduced in Blue Ridge. And it's funny, you talked about the possibility of potentially expanding that in the future. That was one thing he talked about, was maybe seeing this grow into something that's available potentially every day in Blue Ridge. How beneficial, one, and I know you touched on it there, Mr. Peyton, for just a second, but how beneficial would it be to have something like this, whether it's just this year for the limited times it's going to be there, but then in the future, how much would that benefit, you think, your community and your families if this was something that was there at their disposal every day?
Well, hopefully a lot. I mean, I've heard a lot of need from the community about wanting to have some after school programming and potentially before school, right? So I mean, there's a huge opportunity here to kind of expand this, but we have to make sure that individuals are involved and we get the enrollment numbers that we need in this programming to basically expand at some point. But anytime that we can have a space where students can stay after school, there's a learning component built into it, some type of whether it's reading or whether it's homework completion, those type of things that can be done. And then obviously just the programming. I mean, they're able to play different games and interact, which is wonderful to have some of that guidance and that mentoring that takes place as well in those spaces. I know sometimes we've become a little bit of a society where screens and technology kind of take over. And so, if we can have some more interaction, with our peers, with adults, with good mentors, I think that, benefits our community greatly.
No doubt. Very good. Well, like I said, hear from Rennie at 9:30 for maybe folks in Blue Ridge listening this
I
morning
said
that are curious about what that's going to look like and what that program is all about. I know that gets underway. Clinton in school today, so Y Zone over here is going to be in full swing in the next day or two. So very good. Well, Mr. Peyton, anything back to school related we did not touch on, sir, that you'd like to get to here today before we go to break?
I don't think so. I think we've kind of hit everything so far. Like I said, just excited about first night tonight. We'll get to see kids back into the building, and I know it's not with learning, but we're just excited to see all those smiling faces as they come in, and it's just a great opportunity to start the year off on a positive note.
Once again, Mr. Ryan Peyton, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, my guest on the Zoom here for this morning. Again, the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. More to come with Mr. Peyton on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. Corn starting the day steady, beans higher, and Chicago wheat lower. September corn opening $4.59 unchanged. December corn unchanged $4.83 1/4, and March corn $4.99 1/4 up 1/4. September beans opening $11.82 1/2 up 4 3/4. November beans up 6 $11.98 1/2. January beans up 6 12.13 3/4. September Chicago wheat 6.66 1/4 down 8 1/2. September KC wheat is down 10 1/2 7.43 3/4. September bean meal 310.60 up 40 cents. September bean oil up 87 cents 70.31. Energy market October Brent crude oil 89.26 up 74 cents. Opening numbers on this Monday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
This is it.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
Here's Matt Hart, owner of the Hart Media Group in Clinton.
It's been great. You and Ben and the entire team are doing a great job. And we're just continuing on serving the local community, right? This is what this is all about. We're here to serve our local community. We're here to tell the local stories. We're here to cover the news. So nothing in that regard is changing. Our goal is connecting people. And that's our tagline at Hart Media Group. It's connecting people.
Hart purchased the Miller Media Group in August of 2025 and looks forward to serving the community for years to come.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the Zoom today is Mr. Ryan Peyton, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools. Mr. Peyton, we were catching up before we got started. Once again, your FFA program is receiving national recognition. Tell me about this. What's going on?
Yeah, we're very excited and proud of this group. So basically, this is year 2 where we have been recognized in the top 10 nationally. And so I think it's a pretty rare feat to be back-to-back kind of finalists there. And so we are extremely excited there. I think it just kind of shows all the hard work and effort that our students and our advisor, Ms. Meisner, have put in this last year. And we're just very appreciative of the hard work that they put in. And then also for Ms. Meisner for putting these kids into situations where they can be this successful. So yeah, really looking forward to October and hoping to see if we can jump in that top 10 or top 5 or maybe top 1. So we're looking forward to it.
Very good. Very good. Any other programs getting underway this week? What are the extracurricular schedules like?
Yeah, we have been super busy. Unfortunately, last week was a little rough with the weather. And so a lot of things were delayed or rained out, et cetera. So, we have football kicking off this week. It's on Friday. It'll be our first game. We're going way out west, about 2.5 hours. I think it's West Prairie is the name of the team that we are playing. Okay. And so we're going to do a little bit of traveling this week. And then, junior high softball and baseball, are off. And, I think we started out 3-0 as a softball team, junior high wise. Volleyball will be kicking off here at the high school here soon. Soccer, also will be underway. Golf. We're getting all of these things up and ready to go here. So it is a busy fall time. And just looking forward to seeing what type of success we can have this year.
Very good. So everything going on. What are you looking forward to most, Mr. Peyton, about the upcoming school year?
I honestly am looking forward to the professional learning community work that we're doing. It has a lot of focus on and just utilizing data and providing opportunities to improve instruction, right, and to inform instruction, and that is a huge part of what we do. So that is going to be a huge focus this year and one of our main initiatives that we are working toward. And just continuing to work on our strategic plan. We are on year 2 of our strategic plan. We have 5 broad board goals that we really focus on, from student achievement and curriculum to, finance, to facilities, to, community relations, et cetera. There are multiple areas there. And, we want to make sure that we are continuing to go from good to great and improve in all of these areas. And so that is a kind of a big driver of what we do. So I just want to make sure we maintain that focus and continue to see our organization grow.
Very good. Very good. Well, as we get into the swing of things here, Mr. Peyton, anything for you come to mind that we haven't touched on, whether it's back to school, whether it's the new school year ahead? I guess I'll ask this: how's staffing? How's bus driver staffing? How are some of those things in your district right now?
Overall staffing is pretty solid right now. So, I think we've got every position filled that we need to. So that is a wonderful thing. Yep. About 2 weeks ago, actually a week and a half ago, we had our induction day and mentoring. And so we got to bring in a variety of new staff. I think we had around 12 new staff in the district this year across the board, from paras to drivers to aides to PE teachers, new SLP, speech language pathologists. So, that's awesome to have them come in and kind of hear about our culture and our vision and the things that we want to do this year. And we're just excited to kick the year off. It's always good to have, new staff coming in. They bring a new perspective sometimes and new energy. But we actually have so many great staff on board that also have great energy and have great focus and knowledge and skill. And so we're just looking to meld those groups together and continue to see some success, in learning.
This is going to be year 2 for you. What's going to be where do you think the transition from year 1 to year 2 is going to be the greatest? Whether it's, something that should be easier a second time around, just what did you learn year 1 to year 2 that you're taking with you into this? How about just a few of those things to wrap us up?
Sure. I mean, a couple of things. Number one, as a new soup, you've only done a budget one time, you've only done a tax levy one time. There's a lot of one-time things that you do just annually as a soup, and so having a little bit more knowledge, even with building the budget this year, has been helpful, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's a wonderful thing, right? As we experience things more, we get more knowledge, and we can hopefully do better because we learn each year.
Very good.
I will tell you though, the second year though, you start to realize in year 1, you're drinking from a fire hose, and you're trying to kind of do the basics, and as you get into it more, you start to just see all the different layers of things, right?
Sure,
so
yeah.
you start to see the more detailed things that I need to look at now, kind of those secondary things I need to focus on. So it's a nonstop job with lots of layers, but I enjoy it. It's awesome being a part of this community and in this position to help support our teachers and staff. So very thankful.
Well, we look forward to catching up as the year goes along, Mr. Peyton. They always go fast, but we appreciate you taking time out here as we get ready to get back to school in Blue Ridge. We'll catch you along the way. Thank you once again.
Sounds good, Seth. Good seeing you. Have a great day.
You do the same. Ryan Peyton, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, my guest on the Zoom. Network News on the way.